We're excited to add Edward Elmhurst Health to Business Connection. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to managing your health care, and for Edward Elmhurst Health, it's important that each step of the process is safe, seamless, and personal. In this episode, we take a look at the vital role that transition of care plays in your healthcare experience.
Healthcare is incredibly complex. We want to make sure that the healthcare experience for our patients is safe, seamless, and personal. And an area of intense focus for us is transitions of care. And transitions of care occur whenever a patient moves from one provider to the next. So for example, when a patient's in the hospital and they go from the emergency department to the inpatient unit, that's a transition of care. Or when we transfer the patient from the hospital to a skilled nursing facility or home care.
We have a lot of teams working on different ways to make sure that a patient has a safe and seamless transition to the next site of care. If a patient transfers within the hospital, there's a time to stop and do what we call medication reconciliation. So to double check the meds, do we know what they're on? Are they still on those? Am I transferring them to the next department with the right medications? There's also that when you send them home or when you send them to a skilled nursing facility. And how do we also get an appointment scheduled for a patient before they leave? How do we set that up for them so that they go home with that in their hand, with the understanding of its importance, because that is our next check. We also do a lot of work around follow-up phone calls. So we're trying to let patients know you may get that phone call that's going to tell you, that's going to ask you, how are you doing at home? Have you run into any barriers since you've been home? Can you get to the appointment we scheduled? Do you have the appointment scheduled? So one of the questions that we've kind of put in place and are trying to bring back to light is, who is your discharge partner? Who's your partner for transition? Who besides you can we share this information with? You're on medications, you're having a stressful experience, you're only hearing so much of this. So who can we talk to? And for the nurses, it's also saying it more than once, it's really putting it out there, and then it's providing them with a piece of paper that says, here's what's important, here's what you need to know, here's who you can contact. We all operate in our own worlds, right? And I could do everything perfect today. And I could hand it off to you thinking I've given you everything you need, but what if I don't know that I'm missing something that you need? We really need to figure out that back and forth of, well, you gave me this patient, but I was missing this one crucial piece that's important for my job, for what I have to do with this patient. We really need to make sure we're capturing that.
Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a wonderful guest in studio today. It's Jennifer Antilles, and she's a realtor with Baird & Warner. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Tell me a little bit about why you wanted to become a realtor.
It started when with an experience I had several years back. We were selling our home, and we were introduced to a Baird & Warner realtor, and she just made the entire process so wonderful and so seamless. She explained everything along the way, and after we sold, I had to buy a house, and she really listened to everything that I was saying and showed me properties that fit me and what I wanted, and it was just a wonderful experience, and that really stayed with me all this time.
That's wonderful. Most of the time, people always think that you don't really need a realtor, that you can do it yourself. Mm-hmm. And why is that not a good idea? What does a realtor do?
We're managing so many different pieces. There's a lot of moving pieces at the same time, and we need to manage everything. I need to know what's happening in the marketplace. I need to understand what's happening in the neighborhood. I need to know what the pricing has done in the past and what it could go in the future. I also need to be able to explain contracts to you. So there's a 13-page contract. What does it mean? Why are you signing it? You know, so people need to understand this whole process. I also need to be able to negotiate. So I'm going to be negotiating with either a buyer or a seller on your behalf. And so I'm going to be negotiating price. I could be negotiating time. I could be negotiating something other, something of value that's important to you. I need to be working with the inspectors, you know, and making sure everything happens at the right time. I need to be working with attorneys and make sure everything's on time. We need to work with the lenders and make sure that the whole process happens smoothly all the way to close. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people just don't realize happen, that we take care of.
Well, and I think also that it's our largest purchase.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we make our lives in our home. We all think about going home. It's our home, you know. And so I think another hat you wear is counselor.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because sometimes the families don't agree on what they want, and you need to be that voice of reason. I understand that you want this, but here's what the market is saying, you know, and we also, it's hard to hear about the value of someone's home because, to your point, that's their prized possession, and it may not be worth out in the marketplace what they think it is. So that's a hard conversation to have, and it's a hard conversation to hear. So I have to tread lightly.
That's right. Well, it's a big role that you play. Why did you choose Baird & Warner?
One of the things that interested me was I knew that they were customer focused. Obviously, I had that experience firsthand. Right. And when I met with the managing broker out in Naperville, Bill Gill, I knew immediately that this is the company I wanted to work with. They spend so much time training and supporting all of their agents. But not only their agents, they also support the community, and that's a big deal for me. So the Naperville office supports Loaves and Fishes. They support 360 Youth Services. Naperville responds to veterans, and the Rib Fest.
That's a lot, and it is important. Now, Baird & Warner has been around since before the Chicago fire. They played an important role for Chicago in that.
They have been, and some people don't realize that Baird & Warner is the oldest real estate firm in the country. They've been around since 1855. So needless to say, they've seen a couple market changes throughout their careers.
And now, how long have they been in Naperville?
Baird & Warner has the largest market share in Naperville. So we're the #1 with listing and selling in Naperville. We're the #1 office with listings and sales in the surrounding suburbs. So what does that mean for our clients? It means that you're getting all that expertise and knowledge behind you, and we're supporting you all the way.
I think that's important. It says a lot. The firm behind the realtor says a lot. So
absolutely.
Absolutely important. So tell me, what makes you different from everybody else?
I think what makes me different is I work from the heart. It's very important to me that my clients have a positive experience from beginning to end. There may be some hiccups along the way, but the whole process is a positive one. I absolutely love working with first-time home buyers. When they get that first home and they find that home, it's just so fulfilling. We get to close and they get their keys. That's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling for me, and it's why I do what I do. Also, I'll tell you a story. I had this family that were moving up in size house. Their family was growing. And we were looking at 9 homes in one day, and it was a rainy day, and everybody was tired. But at the end, we got to this one house, and they fell in love, and I could tell, you know, and that's what makes it worth it. They loved the house. We went back the next day. We put in an offer in, and they got the house, and they love it. And I still visit them, and it's so rewarding. What I do is very rewarding.
You play a huge role in what makes a house a home by helping us find our home.
It could be one of your biggest investments. It's a lot of money. It takes a lot of time, and it's an important decision. And so, to be a part of that with somebody is very rewarding.
So, Jennifer, you had a few life changes that kind of led you to be a realtor. So tell me a little bit about how this all came together, and now has been just a wonderful life change for you.
It has. So a few years back, my husband and I got a divorce, which is why we were selling the home. And our realtor was absolutely amazing throughout that process. And then she helped me purchase my own home. My corporation was doing some downsizing, so my role was eliminated. So that was a little stressful after I just purchased a home. So I was fortunate enough to land another role within the same company. So 2 weeks after starting that new position, I was diagnosed with cancer. So I went through surgery, went through 2 rounds of chemo, then went through radiation, and came out of that okay.
Awesome.
Yep.
So happy about that.
Thank you so much. And then after about a year, my role was eliminated again. And the whole process is very stressful, looking for a role and not knowing about your future. And at that point, I knew I don't want to go through this anymore. So I left the company and started to do real estate. And I knew immediately this is what I wanted to do based on the experience that I had. It's a rewarding business and so fulfilling. And I'm just so glad that this is where I'm at in my life.
That's wonderful. Well, I thank you for stopping by and visiting with me a little bit and tell me a little bit about what you do, why it's important, and how you and Baird & Warner play a big role in our community. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. And we're going to be right back with more Business Connections. Stay tuned. If you're interested in a television appearance on Business Connection as a way to reach out to your community or to gain exposure for your company, contact NCTV17 at 630-355-2124. I'm Liz Spencer, and thank you for watching Business Connection.
This episode of Business Connection is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor Esser Hayes Insurance Group, serving the Naperville community by putting an expert in your corner since 1941.
Hello and welcome to NCTV17's Hour. I'm Blaine Irwin. Instead of featuring some of the many musicians NCTV17's community events team covers throughout the year, in this program we'll be taking a look at the dancers who put music in motion. And we'll start with a couple of dances from the Shilin Association's Lantern Festival, a celebration of Chinese culture in Naperville. First, with a performance of a dance of the Dragon and Phoenix, a Mongolian dance instructed by Xiaofeng Huang. This next performance from the Lantern Festival takes martial arts and sets it to music. It's fast-paced, fun, features lots of exciting props, and even a couple of choreographed fight scenes. It's Kung Fu Hurricane, performed by the Illinois Shaolin Kung Fu Academy.